Hello YouTube family. So wow, today's video I think is gonna have a lot of value for you all because I'm gonna not only be talking about three big NFT investing mistakes to avoid, but I'm gonna be giving examples of my own mistakes under all three of these points. So yeah guys, I think you'll find this video very valuable, and by learning from my mistakes, hopefully you guys can avoid them. If that sounds good to you, remember to leave a big thumbs up, hit subscribe, click that notification bell, and let's get into it. On-chain gaming. The number one mistake that you guys need to make sure that you're avoiding in the play to earn gaming space, which is definitely going to be blowing up. NFT games, they're going to be blowing up. The world is going to be changing because of on-chain gaming. But FOMO can still cause you to make really bad investing decisions. So if you don't know, FOMO stands for fear of missing out, and I'm sure most of you have heard of that before. And it is this idea when there's something that you start getting excited about that you don't yet have any ownership in. When that thing it starts running up, then you start really fearing that you're missing out on this massive run up, and you're like, I knew this thing was good. Why I don't know. I don't own it. It just keeps going higher and higher, and then it can feel like you just really should just buy it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on so much. I've already lost 100% run up. Like, this is just crazy. The 500% run up now, this is insane. And then at the very peak of the FOMO is when you buy, and it also happens to be the peak of the crypto or the NFT or whatever it is, the stock, and it starts going down after that. And that mistake, it hits every single one of us where we just like, man, I don't want to miss out on this. It feels like everyone's making money on this, but I just didn't. And then you buy in at the top. So this is a really big investing mistake to avoid. And this is the only one that I actually don't have an example for. The next two have an example, but I want to talk about the reason I don't have an example for this one is because it's probably the one thing of these three that I'm the best at. And the reason for that is you have to get your thought process. You have to get your mindset in the right space. And this mindset that you have to be in is this. One, there are always going to be more opportunities. Whatever opportunity that you're seeing, it's never going to be the final one. Like, there's always going to be another thing that's cool, another thing that's epic and takes everything by storm. So if you miss one thing, it's okay. Like, the incredible thing about investing is that you can have unlimited strikes thrown past you and you never get struck out. And in fact, the only way you can get struck out is by swinging at a really bad swing. So I would rather miss 9 really good strikes and then knock one out of the park than swing at everything and lose all my money, if that makes sense. So that's really important to remember. So that will help you not FOMO into things. The other thing to remember is that if something runs up a ton, especially if it starts running up far more than like fundamental growth that you see, it is eventually going to come back down, guaranteed. Bubbles always pop. And they can last longer than you think they're gonna last. But if something is truly in a bubble, it is going to pop eventually. And there's no reason to buy in when in the future, there's a really good chance you'll probably be able to buy in for cheaper. So just be patient and wait. And that actually, the patience side is something I'm not as good at. But yeah, be patient. Remember that, if something is growing much bigger in value than the fundamental value of that thing is growing, then it's probably gonna come back down. But sometimes things can go up and then fundamentally, like, things could be going like even better, and like it could seem like something just shot up a ton, but maybe in that situation, it's still a good buy, but also in that situation, you're not FOMOing because you understand the fundamental value of the asset that you're purchasing. So I don't know, one really good example might be AXS. AXS has run up a ton, but AXS also has control of a community treasury. By owning AXS, you actually have have like control of real value per AXS that you own. And the AXS, Axie Infinity's economy has just been generating so much revenue. It's insane that in that context, I haven't actually done that deep dive research. I probably should have, but it is very possible that revenue growth has still surpassed the coin's appreciation. So yeah, I'm not sure if AXS is in a bubble or not. I'm not buying it right now, but I could be missing out. Like I really should be doing that deep dive research into AXS, looking at how much revenue is getting controlled by each AXS, so that I can do some fundamental analysis on that and figure out, wait, maybe this is still a fundamental good purchase. So yeah, all of that stuff will help you not to FOMO. But yeah, now let's move on to the next thing. This is one mistake that I just made a couple days ago. And yeah, this has to do with patience. So FOMO's out of there, but just being extremely impatient is a bad idea. And this impatience, it might not even be FOMO. There's a lot of other things that can make you impatient beyond fear of missing out. Like maybe you just want it now. You're just, the delayed gratification thing doesn't work out too well. So I just experienced this a little bit. I have been building up a big stash of Gala coins because I felt like Gala was undervalued. It is just a utility coin, which I think was making it kind of less attractive compared to like AXS or even like Illuvium or something where you have real like DAO control, voting power, funds that you're controlling by owning. So Gala coin, it's more like a Bitcoin. It's like, it's literally just a currency. There's a max supply on it, which makes it a store of value. But yeah, people weren't really pouring into it. And I'm like, man, this thing is really undervalued when I look at the team and the games that are coming online and how much demand's probably gonna exist for this coin in the future. And I built this really strong bull case in my mind, throw on top halvings every single year of the inflation rate. And I was just like, yeah, 5-6 years out, Gala coin, it's gonna be worth way more than it is now. I think I was buying it when it had a fully diluted market cap under $500 million, a fully diluted one. There's a lot of Gala that still has to exist. So the actual market cap was like 50 million or something for Gala coin. And I was just like, man, this thing has so much upside. And sure enough, Gala started to go up in value. I was buying it around 1/6 of a cent. And it shot up last Saturday all the way up to 2.1 cents. So from 1/6 of a cent to 2.1 cents, I was like, this is incredible, so much run up. And one NFT game that I've really been wanting to invest in, heavier and heavier, is Mirandus, because I'm just so excited for it. And it's a really risky investment, guys, because the game doesn't exist yet. Like, people could not enjoy it. That's a very real possibility. But I really wanted to be more invested in this game. I have faith in it. I have faith in the lead developer of the game and his vision. I just really wanted to get more invested in this. And as Gala started to run up, I realized that I could buy a Town of the Duke. And maybe it actually was some FOMO, but it was really a lack of patience, because even though I knew that I wanted to buy a Town of the Duke, none of the NFTs were really getting purchased. Like, a lot of the deeds have been there for a couple months, and I think only 1 or 2 has been bought. So I was like, I still have plenty of time. I wasn't afraid of missing out on the opportunity to buy the Duke. They weren't all gonna get purchased up overnight or anything, but I just saw that run up, and I was like, I want this right now. I can have it right now. I want it right now. So I bought it. I bought the Duke, and I still think it's an incredible investment. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't think it was an incredible investment. But what I forgot was the patience on just letting Gala coin run more, because I still fundamentally believed and still believe that Gala coin has a lot more upside to it. So why not just let my Gala continue to appreciate? I mean, it had just gone from 1/6 of a cent to 2.1 cents. And now this is how we get to the point where I know it was a mistake, and now hindsight is 2020. It is impossible to predict short-term moves. So I don't think anyone should be too hard on themselves on not successfully predicting a short-term move. But what I'm hard on myself on is the fact that my ownership of Gala wasn't meant to be a short-term move. I kind of turned it into too much of a short-term move than I was planning on it being, just because I was impatient and really wanted that Duke. And yeah, now it turns out Gala has doubled again, and I could have literally purchased 2 Towns of the Duke for the same exact price that I bought 1 Town of the Duke for 4 days ago. And yeah, that's a lack of patience. I had a fundamental belief. I knew that it could go to like 10 cents or something, and then I sell it at 2.1 cents because I'm impatient about something else that I want to purchase with it. And yeah, guys, there's just a lot of psychological stuff, a lot of psychology going on here, but a big mistake to avoid is being impatient. And you'll notice a theme. We're about to move on to the third one, but a lot of these things are very emotional. And I think, yeah, we'll get into the final conclusion, but it has to do with doing things based off fundamental logic, what you have, the conclusions that you've come to based on fundamentals, and letting those rule your decision making versus those emotional decisions. Those are oftentimes what leads you to make these really, really big mistakes. All right, so FOMO, avoid that. Lack of patience, make sure you guys avoid that. But then finally, greed is really, really dangerous as well. And this is kind of the flip side of FOMO. It's kind of the opposite side of the same exact hat. And this oftentimes comes in when something is appreciated beyond what you fundamentally thought it was gonna go to. Or maybe it happens too quickly or so fast, and you're like, wow, it's gonna just keep on going more. So let's say, for example, that Gala had gone to 10 cents. I bought it at 1/6 of a cent. It went to 10 cents. That's what I thought it could probably go to in the next year or two. And now long term, like maybe it goes to $1 eventually, but there's just way more fundamental stuff that needs to get accomplished by Gala Games before I think there's enough demand to sustain that type of valuation. So say Gala went to 10 cents and I was like, man, I just made so much money on this. This is incredible. This just reached what I fundamentally thought it was going to, just like really, really quick. And then at that point, it's really easy to say, wow, Gala just already 10x, 20x. If I hold it a little bit longer, maybe it 10x's or 20x's again. And then the greed just really starts to get a hold of you, and it's not about the fundamentals at all anymore. You just want to make more off of what you've been making. And then you decide not to sell, and then a crash happens. And yeah, then your greed causes you to have not made the right decision to sell at what you thought was a good chance at least of being a fundamental peak. And if I do what I fundamentally believe is right and it turns out to be wrong, that's okay. I'm not hard on myself. It's when I make one of these emotional decisions that I knew was gonna be wrong and then it turns out to be wrong, like that is when I'm really, really hard on myself. So yeah, don't let that greed take a hold of you when you've seen a ton of appreciation on something. So the example I want to use for this one is Axie Infinity. So I bought two majestic Axies, and one of them I got greedy on, but it was it's weird. Not the example I used before, but like I bought this Mystic Axie for 8 Ethereum. And then the Mystic Axie floor just started rising and rising and rising. And I just got really greedy. I'm like, I just need to sell now, just need to sell now. Yeah, it's like one of those greeds where I think it was my initial nervousness in that purchase, like being unsure, like, will I ever get my money back out that I put into these Mystic Axies, that then caused me that uncertainty. I was just like really greedy, like, oh, I could take out 50%, I could get a 50% gain on this like already. And then I sold one of my Axies for 13 ETH. Now the Axie floor is 30 ETH. So yeah, that was some insecurity probably that came into just wanting to just take a win off of that decision. And yeah, it turned out to be a really big mistake. And there was no fundamental thing where I was like, yeah, Axies are gonna go down in value from here. I didn't think that at all. In fact, I was pretty confident Mystic Axies were gonna continue going up in value, but I was greedy and just wanted that ETH gain. So I turned 8 ETH into 13 ETH, wow me. And now, yeah, the cheapest Mystic Axies are over 30 ETH. So I could have gotten way, way more gain from that, but because I was greedy, I didn't. And I know it sounds a little bit illogical, but yeah, greed can make you sell things too early, just like they can make you hold things too long. And like I said, it just goes back to don't let those emotions, think about this fundamentally, where Mystic Axie is going. So thankfully, the more valuable Mystic that I bought for 24 Ethereum, I still am holding that, and yeah, it's probably worth $1 million now or something in the hundreds of thousands ballpark. It's appreciated a ton. And yeah, I'm tempted to be greedy now, you know? I'm unsure actually. Fundamentally, I know that Axie Infinity still has tons of growth, which because Mystic Axies are a limited asset that there will be zero inflation of, obviously I shouldn't sell my Axie. If the total player population is gonna 10x from here, and the total number of Mystic Axies is not gonna increase at all, then the value of Mystic Axies is probably gonna keep going up because the demand increases, the supply stays the same. Tokenomics to say, logic, economics say that the price is gonna go up when demand increases and supply stays the same. So I know fundamentally I shouldn't sell this Mystic Axie, and I'm not going to, but greed-wise, I really want, you know? I'll take $500,000 for it. Yeah, that's such a big gain right now. I'll sell it to you, but no, I'm not going to. And yeah, that's just the emotions fighting the logic side. So yeah, guys, those are the 3 really big pitfalls to avoid, and it all can be summed up in one: the FOMO, the impatience, the greed. It's all the emotions. Don't let your emotions take over your logical decision making, because if you fundamentally thought through something and there's good reasons why you think it's a good investment, hold on to that fundamental thought processes. Hold on to those and let those guide your decision making, not your emotions. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video and hearing those tips to avoid and some of those mistakes that I've made, then a thumbs up would be very much appreciated. When the algorithm sees those thumbs up, the video gets recommended to more people. So you're literally sharing it to more people when you leave those thumbs up. And then if you're not subscribed yet and you just watched this whole video, what are you doing? Make sure you hit subscribe and click that notification bell, and you will not miss any future on-chain gaming content. This entire channel is dedicated to the future of gaming, which I think is going to be NFTs and play to earn and these metaverses that exist on the blockchain. It's just super, super exciting. Honestly, every time I even think about it, I just start smiling because it's such a cool concept that's actually becoming reality right now. So yeah, definitely make sure you're subscribing and joining this journey. It's just super exciting. And then I'll just close by saying thank you to our incredible Patreon supporters. You guys are enabling us to make this content. We really appreciate it. I say this every video, but I don't make these by myself. Nate, my brother, puts a ton of effort into editing all of these, and then Josh, our friend, does the music and sound design. So yeah, thank you for your support so that we can continue making this content. And until next time, everyone, avoid making decisions emotionally and have fun roaming the metaverse.